Hey, what's up, Todd here, and what I want to talk to you about this month is social calibration. So the word gets thrown around a lot, and the funny thing is, I think a lot of guys, when they learn pickup, they actually get less socially calibrated. A lot of guys get into pickup thinking, that they have to be really polite and they have to tiptoe around, they can't offend, have to be politically correct, have to be nice to the girl. They're even like afraid to touch girls. And then one thing that a lot of guys love about getting into the pickup community and a lot of the concepts is that they get this great freedom, this sort of like belief in themselves that it's okay to touch girls, it's okay to offend people, the world doesn't die if someone gets offended, and that it's a good thing to a point. It is a good thing. But what happens is a lot of guys, they feel this level of freedom and they start to take it too far. They start to, there was a reason why you had sort of social fear in the first place. There was a reason why you didn't want to offend people in the first place. And some of those instincts are actually good, right? In the long run, you want to be the type of person where you're providing a good experience for people. You're not just being a button pusher. You're not just out for your own objectives. Because what happens if you're just out for your own objectives is you may get good response at first. Right? You may get a good response at first, but over time, as people start to get to know you and so people start to see that's how you are, you'll have trouble maintaining relationships. And that's why there are a lot of guys in pickup that have sticking points like they can hook up with girls, but they never get a call back the next day. Or they can hook up a few times, but they never are able to get or keep a girlfriend. It's because they're coming from this very sort of like button pushing, sort of like exploiting the glitches in human nature sort of view of things rather than genuinely connecting and getting to know people on a human level. I'll give you a couple kind of interesting examples. My assistant took a couple guys out to film them just today so I can do film breakdowns and that kind of stuff. And one of the guys, he approached a girl in the middle of this crowded restaurant, which good for him, like more power to him, very ballsy, whatever. And everybody in the restaurant was staring at him, staring at her. And, he kind of like didn't really understand the fact that all the attention was there, right? And like just to kind of exemplify or just illustrate the point that he didn't understand, right after the approach, he walks right up to my assistant with every eye in the restaurant on him and comes and talks to my assistant who's holding the camera like that was just watching him do the set. He's completely oblivious to the way that other people were responding to him. And so the key here is you want to have balls, right? In pickup, you need to have balls. You need to have that ability to do what you need to do. You need to be able to like, okay, I'm not going to succumb to my fear. I'm going to step up and do something. But at the same time, you also want to be aware of the experience that you're giving other people. So when you do a ballsy approach, you shouldn't be afraid, but you should understand that it's ballsy. You should understand that the other person in that interaction may have some pressure on them. And if they feel nervous and weird, they're not actually that weird for feeling it, right? It's totally normal, and you should be able to understand that. Because if you can't calibrate, you're going to get what actually happened with the other guy who my assistant filmed today, which is he was an approach machine, talked to girl after girl after girl, and he was very, very polarizing. And, most of the girls, like the vast majority were like, oh, no thanks, bye, no, And then every, like, 1 in 10 or something like that would respond to the fact that he was being ballsy, and that actually turned her on, and then he would have a good interaction with her. But the strength of the interaction wasn't based on his unique character, it wasn't based on his personality, it was based on the fact of her respecting the ballsiness. Okay? So the ideal situation is to be ballsy, but to actually understand that it's ballsy while you're being ballsy, to be calibrated and understand socially where the other person's coming from. You need to be able to put yourself in the other person's shoes and know what they're thinking. And when that is the case, your percentages of success are going to go through the roof because you're still going to have, that courage, that ballsiness. You're still going to understand, let that which doesn't matter really slide, and, don't be intimidated of crazy situations. You still need to step up. But within that circumstance, you're going to be able to relate to the other person a lot better. You're going to be able to understand when they're giving you a bad reaction, not just, ooh, this is bad, but you'll understand why, and you can solve the problem. Because if you don't understand the problem, you can't solve it. So what I really want to encourage you to do this month, A, stay ballsy, right? Don't become like a little pussy and like not do difficult approaches, because I've told you this. But when you do your approaches, I want you to really think about trying to make the other person have a good experience, all right? Try and think about, I'm going to go in and I'm going to make this interaction as good and as much fun for them as possible. And don't even think going in, I'm going to get a number, I'm going to have sex with them, whatever. Just think, I'm going to make a good interaction. I'm going to make this fun. I'm going to make this a great experience for them. And in order to do that, you need to try and understand them. Know who they are, know where they're going, know what their value system is, and understand the situation you're putting them in. If someone seems really nervous, instead of just thinking, oh, they're weird for being nervous when being picked up, think, why are they nervous right now? Is this an awkward situation? Because just that little line of, oh, you know what, I come over here, it's a little crowded over here, and just getting them out of the crowd where they're not being brushed upon by a bunch of people. Or if they seem like very scared or nervous, they did the approach, being like, yeah, I don't usually do this, but that one sentence can make such a huge difference. But that one sentence can only occur if you're putting yourself in their shoes and understanding where they're coming from. Okay, so stay ballsy, but really, really focus on understanding where they're coming from. And another thing I'll add to this, say you're at like a party, a social gathering, a bar, something like that. And this will maybe, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking it may be the mission impossible for this month, is try and take on the role as though you're the host. Imagine yourself as the host in that party or bar environment, and think to yourself, these are my guests. I want them to have a good time. And just, walk around and be like, hey, you having a good time tonight? Cool, yeah, I know, it's amazing. Yeah, there's so many cool things. I'll show you around if you want. Take that role of, not that it's your job to make sure they have a good time, but that your night will be enhanced if the people around you and the people at the party are having a good time, and you just want to kind of do it out of the goodness of your heart. So take that very giving attitude, and take that attitude of, I'm going to get inside their situation and help make their situation better. All right? So don't just be out for you. Don't just be a button pusher. And definitely don't be like socially blind. Right? Be socially calibrated. Understand the worldview of other people. And try and go in with the objective, not of getting a result, but of making the interaction as good for them as possible.